Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Tom Worth Jr. And I wanted to talk tonight, this lovely Friday night, 1st of November, something that Nicole Wallace said today. She's basically appealing to her boss, her old boss, George W. Bush, to endorse Kamala Harris. And she raised some good points, but I think, in relationship to whether it matters or not, if you endorse someone, especially right now, if maybe half or 2/3 of the votes have already been cast in early voting, might not matter so much. And I see that in some of the comments about, the economists endorsing Kamala Harris or Jeff Bezos not endorsing, not letting the Washington Post board, editorial board endorse, that it doesn't matter, it doesn't shift votes. And I basically agree with that, depending on who it is. Dick Cheney, Liz Cheney, yeah, that's going to shift some votes. But I do think it's important to stand up and be counted, and to, in this case, to let people know where you stand, which side of history you're on. And that's what I think, whoever's doing these endorsements on these editorial boards, and I know The Economist was to do with economics, which is kind of why I pointed that out, that he could be an economic catastrophe, and she absolutely would not be. So it was notable to me that the best economic publication in the world put their weight behind her. But when you have someone like George W. Bush, Nicole Wallace, she's on MSNBC. She seems like a flaming liberal, but she was W's White House communications director in his second term for the first year, like from day one of the second term, for about a year and a half. And she had worked with other Republicans before. She went to Berkeley for an undergrad, but she worked with Republicans. She worked on Jeb Bush's campaign for a little while. She worked on John McCain's campaign in 2008. Thought Sarah Palin was a disaster. And I think she said, or I was reading about it, I think it said that she didn't vote for anyone in the 2008 election because of Sarah Palin. But she was a Republican. And then with Donald Trump, she had already had the liberal turn, I guess, but she really wants her ex-boss to officially endorse Kamala Harris, and it's because she knows him. And I said this before. I said he is a great man, and he's got a great heart. That's what I believe from the George W. Bush I see. Do I think that killing hundreds of thousands of innocent Iraqis is good? No. I didn't think the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki was good. I think you fight it out. Okay, that makes me stupid maybe, because in a mathematical sense, killing 100,000 Japanese civilians might be better than 1 million soldiers on both sides combined dying. But I still think there are moral lines you don't cross, and dropping nuclear bombs on cities crosses that line. And then doing what we did in Iraq crosses that line. But it means they chose something that I would not have chosen. And anyway, I digress. She mentioned his art in his book, in his work, and how he doesn't want to get involved in things. He just wants to continue his post-presidential career working to help people, in particular wounded veterans. And my brother-in-law, she brought up a book. It's this book right here, Portraits of Courage. And George W. Bush took up painting when he left the White House. And, the 9/11 was a big thing. If you go to his presidential library at SMU, I've been to a number of times. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful campus, SMU is, and this is incorporated right into it on the edge. And it's just an amazing place. The George W. Bush Presidential Center and Library. If you're going to do 9/11 research, it's just a whole big thing in there, a big interactive place. It's just really cool. It's really cool. It's the only presidential library I've been to Haven't been to his dad's down at A&M. Haven't been to LBJ's in Austin other than the rooftop once back in '88, which I've mentioned before. George W. Bush wants to help people. And he took a painting, and it's pretty cool. It's a Commander-in-Chief's tribute to America's warriors. He's sat down with these wounded warriors, and there's a book. There's stories. He's sitting down, they're talking, he's painting their portrait. I mean, that's hard to do. And he just took this up, and it's a whole book of it. And it's dedicated to Sandy and Tom. That's my wife and me. Best wishes, George W. Bush. And why do I have it dedicated to me? Well, more George W. Bush greatness. My brother-in-law, who also happens to be very, 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 very good friend. He worked at George W. Bush's foundation, which runs the Presidential Center, and he went to the Christmas party and got to take my wife, my sister, his wife, and George W. Bush was there, just mingling with the employees of his foundation right over here in Dallas. And that's just the kind of guy he is, just the office Christmas party, but W's there, and Laura's there, and he's taking his pictures with people, and he's signing the books, and I think that's amazing. And he's just a family guy. He loves people that worked for his foundation. He loves these wounded warriors. He's just a loving man, and his political decisions, you can't see that with these politicians. Sometimes they're acting in what they believe to be the best interest of the United States. And I believe that that's what he was doing. And things got all, crazy. And then it became, well, we're making a case to have this war that I want to have anyway, I guess. I don't know about that. But I know it's not good, what happened there. And he was at the forefront of that. So that's bad. But that doesn't make him a terrible person, I don't think. I think he wants to help people, and I think he absolutely, like my brother-in-law, he said it was no secret in 2016, he was working there then, that W did not, he hated Trump. And my brother-in-law, also a lifelong Republican, but in 2016, he did not vote for Trump. He didn't vote for Hillary. Nobody was going to vote for Hillary. He wrote in George W. Bush. And I did vote for Trump, but then the brother-in-law voted for Biden. He's voted for Harris now. Same with me. It's kind of fun being a flaming liberal. My brother-in-law just told me, and wow, we didn't know it was so much fun to actually be helping people and caring about people, and who knew? So real eye-opener for us over these last years. But the case Nicole Wallace made to him is, and she played his own quotes about doing what's right and doing what's important, even when it's hard. Sometimes you've got to do the right thing. You've got to stand up and do the right thing. This is what we are looking for from him. And I don't think he's going to do it. And I don't know why I don't talk to George W. Bush, but he's just very involved. It's not like he's too busy. He flipped the coin at SMU's football game against Florida State a month or two ago, their first ever game in their new football conference, the ACC. He used to be at courtside at SMU basketball games before the football team got good a few years ago. He's just very involved with that university, and I'm wondering if that could have something to do with it, because I've pointed it out before, it is so conservative. That university got to be one of the most conservative universities, along with Texas A&M, which is where his dad's library is. And he knows people there, and he knows a president there. The president's been the president at SMU for 20 or 30 years now. They're looking for another one now. And I'm wondering if he's worried about those relationships, about, if I do act actually endorse Kamala Harris, what does it do to my other relationships, not just in politics, but in my whole life? I don't know, but I think you have to overcome that. I know Dick Cheney overcame it. I know just so many people have overcome it because there is just a line that is crossed with Donald Trump. You think of George W. Bush. He was a businessman, a successful businessman, sports team owner, played sports himself, a successful politician, 2 terms, now an artist. I mean, Trump, and he stayed out of jail. He's never had any legal issues, George W. Bush. Trump has just failed at all of these. He's a corrupt businessman that always declares bankruptcies. He is in trouble with the law all the time, including sexual assault of women, trying to overthrow the government of the United States. Not involved in sports at all. Everybody hates him. Anybody associated with him is only associated with him because they think they can get something out of it. And typically what they get out of it is prison, or fines, or disbarment. These are what the people who have tried to help him find themselves in. Even Elon Musk, possibly the richest man in the world, who thinks he can get away with things that Trump can, which he cannot because he's not an ex-president. He just flaunted the order to appear in the Philadelphia courtroom and said, "No, we're gonna take this to federal court, not your stupid state court." Well, the federal judge immediately slapped it back down to the state court and said, "You have, just like Trump, you have provided no legal basis for saying this case needs to be in federal court, not state court. So you need to get your butt back to the state court and appear as the judge ordered you to." So I guess he'll have a new date now. So this is, I think, the dawning of Musk's realization that he is not, in fact, an ex-president of the United States. So he can't get away with what Donald Trump does. And Steve Bannon, he just got out of prison this week. He's been locked up. How many people do you have to see go to prison on his behalf, and to realize that, yeah, that really happens to people, even the people that got him to where he is. So that's Elon Musk wanting something out of Trump. It's not that he likes Trump or he's friends with Trump. He thinks he can get something out of Trump. These are the only people that associate with Donald Trump. George W. Bush is a beloved person in all of these communities. And I think he would carry some weight here. And I do think he is a stand-up guy who is not standing up in this instant. And I don't know why. And I can only guess it's to preserve relationships, which other people are not too concerned about. They think it's more important to have a democracy. George W. Bush has kids. He has grandkids. Like, what kind of world would your kids and your grandkids live in without the America that we have now? With an America that is allied with Russia, with Vladimir Putin, with Kim Jong-un, and allied against France and Germany and England, and Canada, and Japan. Like, sir, Mr. President, please picture that world for your kids and your grandkids and all of the rest of us. It's not a world that's going to work. It's not a world that anybody wants. And if you can just set aside whatever relationships politically you're trying to preserve, and do the right thing, even though it's too late in the game to do so this time around, man, I think just for your own sake, to be on the right side of history, to be one of the people who opposed Donald Trump, because right now you're not. You're not opposed to Donald Trump right now. Right now, you are one of the people who are just going along with it, and that's despicable. I don't know. I think she really struck a chord with me. Nicole Wallace did, and I think, if someone puts that argument in front of him, I don't know, maybe he'll listen. I know he has time to flip coins at football games and do stuff. So he doesn't even have to go anywhere. He doesn't have to go appear on a podium with Kamala. He doesn't have to do anything. He can just issue a statement. I don't know. I'd feel better about it if he did. That's what's on my mind tonight as we head into this final weekend. I hope everyone's having a good week and a good weekend. And I think fall finally arrived in Texas in the last day or two, which is pretty awesome. And we will talk again tomorrow.